Hello students, we continue with our discussion on Riemann integration. So last class we have seen if f is Riemann integrable, then the Riemann integrability is defined as, in fact, the lower integral is equal to the upper integral, the Darboux integrability. So for our course we are taking it as Riemann integrability because both are equivalent. So we will be using this notion. The common value of the lower and upper integral is called the Riemann integral of f from a to b, and it is denoted by a to b f dx. Right. So thus for a constant function, in the last lecture we have seen fx equal to k for all x, the Riemann integral of f will be k times b minus a. Okay. So let us see one example. Show that the function fx equal to x for all x inside 0 1 is Riemann integrable. Also find the value of 0 to 1 fx dx. So as of now we will be doing it in terms of partition, but there are other several easy ways to do the same problem. We will see in the subsequent lectures. So first of all, for this class, let us do it using the concept of partitions. Right. So we start with some special partitions. Let us consider partitions of the closed interval 0 1 in the form Pn equal to 0 1 by n 2 by n up to n minus 1 by n comma 1. So it's like the partitions that we had to do in higher secondary classes, taking equal subintervals, right? That is what we have done. So since fx equal to x is an increasing function in 0 1, so in the interval xi minus 1 to xi, what is small mi, that is the infimum of f, will be the value taken at the lower endpoint of the subinterval, right? Since it's an increasing function. So small mi is f of xi minus 1 for every I. And what is f of xi minus 1? Xi minus 1 is actually I minus 1 by n. So small mi is I minus 1 by n for all I, and capital Mi is the upper end point of each interval. So this will be I by n. So what is LPNF? LPNF is this summation of mi into xi minus 1. So you can see we have taken subintervals of equal length. So difference between the lower and upper values is 1 by n, right? So it is summation of I minus 1 by n. So 1 by n square will come out, and this is just summation of I goes from 1 to n I minus 1. So that is actually n into n minus 1 by 2. We have just evaluated this. We have separated the summation. So summation of I minus summation of 1. Summation of I is n into n plus 1 by 2. Summation of 1 is n, right? So if you simplify, it comes out to be half multiplied with 1 minus 1 by n. Okay, so the lower sum of partitions of the above type is half into 1 minus 1 by n. So if we consider the supremum of this collection, we can see easily the supremum of this collection for each n. The collection of half into 1 minus 1 by n for every n inside natural number, supremum of this set is actually half. Okay, so now this LPNF, the collection of LPNF such that n belongs to natural number, is a subset of the set of all lower sums, right? And we know supremum over a larger set is larger, so supremum over LPNF will be less than or equal to supremum over all possible lower sums, right? So supremum over this is less than or equal to, what is the supremum of all possible lower sums? It is nothing but the lower integral of f, right? So half is less than or equal to the lower integral of f from 0 to 1. Similarly, UPNF, it comes out to be half into 1 plus 1 by n. Very similar. And the infimum of this collection is half. We can show it easily. Infimum of this collection is half. But this collection is again a subset of the set of all upper sums. And we know infimum over a larger set is smaller. So infimum over UPNF will be greater than or equal to infimum over all possible upper sums. So infimum over all possible upper sums is nothing but the upper integral, and this side it is half. So half is greater than or equal to this. So from 1 and 2, what you get is this. Yeah, but already we have that lower integral is less than or equal to the upper integral. So from 1, 2 and 3, we can say that half less than or equal to lower integral less than or equal to the upper integral less than or equal to half, and this gives that both are actually equal to half. So f is integrable and the value is half. Okay, so we can just evaluate using our higher secondary knowledge. The integration of x dx, what is that? Integration of x dx is x square by 2, and if you put the limits, it's from 0 to 1, so it's 1 square by 2 minus 0 square by 2, it is 1 by 2. Okay, so that is the value. So we have done it using the partition approach. Now there is a very important criterion for integrability, and this theorem is also very important even from the exam point of view. So let f is a bounded function from a b to r, then f is said to be Riemann integrable or integrable if and only for each epsilon greater than 0 there exists a partition P of AB such that UPF minus LPF is strictly less than epsilon, right? So so it's a two-way condition. F is integrable if and only if. So it's necessary and sufficient condition for the integrability of f is that for every epsilon we should be able to get a partition for which the difference between lower and upper sum is strictly less than epsilon, right? So we go through the proof. First let f be integrable. So what is the meaning? Integrable, the lower integral and upper integral, they are equal, and say it is equal to integration a to b f dx. So let epsilon greater than 0 be any given positive number. Then the lower integral is actually the supremum of all lower sums. So by definition of supremum for this particular epsilon, if I take lower integral f dx minus epsilon by 2, that is not going to be a upper bound, right? So by definition of supremum for the above epsilon, there exists a partition P1 of AB such that LP1F is strictly greater than the lower integral minus epsilon by 2, because this quantity, it follows from the definition of supremum itself, this quantity integration lower integral f dx minus epsilon by 2, this cannot be an upper bound of this collection because lower integral f dx is the least upper bound. So anything lesser than that cannot be an upper bound. That means there should be an element inside this set which is strictly greater than this particular element. Okay, so that is what we have written. So but what is the lower integral of f dx? It is a to b f dx, the Riemann integral. So LP1F is strictly greater than this quantity, right? So let us name it as equation 2, in equation 2. Similarly, the upper integral is the infimum of all upper sums. So by definition of infimum, anything greater than this, infimum is the greatest lower bound. So anything greater than this cannot be a lower bound. So if I take anything greater, say this one, I have taken this as greater. So this cannot be a lower bound. That means there should be an element in this set, in the collection of all upper sums, which is strictly less than this element, right? So there exists a partition P2 which is strictly less than this plus epsilon by 2. So now we have two partitions. So we take P equal to P1 union P2. Then P is a refinement of both P1 and P2, because P1 and P2 are both subsets of P1 union P2. Hence LPF, we have already done this result. The refinement increases the lower sum and the refinement decreases the upper sum. That is what we have done already. So the LPF will be greater than or equal to LP1F, which is strictly greater than integration a to b f dx minus epsilon by 2. And then UPF is less than or equal to UP2F, and it is strictly less than this plus epsilon by 2 from the earlier results 2 and 3. Okay, so from 1 and 2, if you just multiply 4 by minus 1, okay, and then you can get this result. So and then you add 4 and 5, UPF minus LPF is less than, this will be epsilon by 2 plus epsilon by 2. Okay, so it's actually epsilon, right? So first part we have done. Conversely, let for each epsilon there exists a partition P of AB such that UPF minus LPF is less than epsilon. So to prove that the lower integral and upper integral are equal, so let epsilon greater than 0 be given. Then by hypothesis there exists a partition P which satisfies this. So let us name it as 6. Now integration a bar to b, that is the lower integral, is the supremum of all lower sums. So that means it should be greater than every lower sum. So in particular it is greater than this particular LPF that we have already selected, right? Similarly, this upper integral is the infimum of all upper sums. So this will be less than or equal to UPF for that particular UPF. So from this 7 and 8, what you get, you multiply 7 by minus 1, so the inequality will get reversed, and then you add it with 8. So we get integration a to b bar f dx minus integration a bar to b f dx is less than or equal to UPF minus LPF. Also we have lower integral is less than the upper integral always. We have already seen. So upper integral minus lower integral is greater than or equal to 0. So if you combine this 9 and 6, combining 9 and 6, what do you get? 0 less than or equal to upper integral minus lower integral less than or equal to UPF minus LPF, which is strictly less than epsilon. So ultimately we get that upper integral minus lower integral is a quantity which is non-negative and which is strictly less than every positive integer. Which is strictly less than every positive real number, epsilon, any arbitrary epsilon. So this has to be equal to 0. This quantity has to be equal to 0. This is the only possibility. So whenever a non-negative quantity is strictly less than every positive quantity, then that quantity has to be 0. There is no other option. So the upper integral and lower integral are equal. So f is Riemann integrable. So this is the proof of this necessary and sufficient condition for integrability. Okay, so please go through this proof and try to do it yourself. Only then you will be able to understand. So in the next class we will be doing some more results on Riemann integrability. Thank you.